To be looking at 3 new bubbles in No Red Ink: the who versus whom, then versus than, and every day versus every day. These are all underneath the commonly confused words practice tab, so make sure you're looking for the assignments in the correct place. So we're going to start with who versus whom, which is one of the probably most confusing ones for just everyone in general to kind of peg down. You'll see plenty of Facebook posts and things like that still haven't quite figured out how to use who versus whom. The big difference between these two words is the job that they do in the sentence. So our basic sentence structure normally begins with the subject. This is who or what our sentence is about. It has a verb that tells us what that subject is doing, and then occasionally we will have objects that are acted on by the subject. So you could just have a sentence that has the subject and verb. I ran, subject I, verb ran. Or I could say I ran into him, and him would act as my object in the sentence, the person that was run into. So when we're looking at who versus whom, you have to figure out what job that word is doing in the sentence. So if it's acting as the subject, we always want to use the word who. So in the sentence, I know who ate the last cupcake, who is the person who ate the cupcake. We could sub in a general subject pronoun like he ate the cupcake, and the sentence makes sense. Or who went on the field trip. Who is the person who is going on the field trip, so they are the subject of the sentence, and we could again sub in a different subject, so she went on the field trip, which is a subject pronoun. So you can see how those make sense. Sometimes that's the easiest trick, is to see if you sub in a different pronoun, whether it be the subject or object pronoun, to see what makes the most sense. We only use whom when the pronoun is the object of the clause, so the one that's being acted on by the subject. To whom am I speaking? The person in the sentence, the whom, is not doing the speaking. I am the one doing the speaking in the sentence. I'm speaking to him. I'm speaking to her. These are our object pronouns. Or whom did you see at school? You is the person who's doing the seeing, but what did they see or what was seen? Whom, or again, he, her, them, it, any of those can fit in. One of the easiest tricks is the object pronoun would be him, them, and me all have ims in them, so that can be easy to help you remember which one goes with whom, which also has that im. The next one we're looking at is than versus then, and these words function completely differently. Their definitions are very different. You just have to kind of memorize the spelling on these. So the word than is for comparisons. We are comparing two different things. Then indicates when something happened, or time. One way you can think of this is the word time has an E in it. So here we have, once Pat memorized his speech, he was more prepared than any of his friends. We're comparing Pat and his memorization to that of his friends. So those are the two things that are being compared. Or we have, once Pat understood the general idea, then he could apply it to specific situations. We have kind of a step or a timeline of what's going on. So we understood the idea, then that something happens, he could apply it to a specific situation. The last thing we're going to look at today is the words everyday with no space and everyday with a space. Everyday combined is an adjective that means regular or ordinary or normal. Every day refers to each specific day. So the same way we have each specific word here, we are looking at each individual and specific day. So here we have, Dave couldn't decide whether to wear his cross-training sneakers or his everyday ones to practice. Everyday here is just meaning ordinary, regular, generic, normal. Here, every day, every single day, Dave brings a bright red lunchbox to school, and there's always something delicious inside. So you can kind of see how these words are doing different jobs. So if I came back up to this sentence and said, or his every single day ones, it doesn't necessarily make as much sense as just saying his ordinary ones. The same way we wouldn't say regular, Dave brings a bright red lunchbox. So if you kind of sub in the different definitions, that can make these make a little bit more sense. As always, if you have any questions on these, don't hesitate to reach out.